You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
But let's start off with the big one from Florida State here. Tedarius Hughes, a 6'2", 170-pound, four-star defensive back. He is rated as a four-star recruit on 3 of the 4 major recruiting services. The lone one that didn't give him a 4-star is 24/7 Sports, but not the 24/7 Sports composite, just the regular 24/7 Sports ranking. But that's neither here nor there. He is currently a Florida State commit, but like I teased, or like I talked about, I should say, last week on the podcast, it was on Thursday that 24/7 Sports was listing him as someone who was scheduled to visit Syracuse. Well, we know it's official. Tadarius Hughes did visit Syracuse football this past weekend. It's confirmed on social media. You can just go on Twitter. You can go on Instagram. It's all there. In fact, 4-star edge rusher commit for Syracuse, Cameron Wilson, was also on campus for the Orange this past weekend. And you can see on social media, he was actually trying to recruit Tedarius Hughes to Syracuse football. As far as the latest with the 4-star recruit Tadarius Hughes, no flip is imminent, but the visit is said to have gone well. This is something that I don't think we will get official word until signing day in early December. But Syracuse is going to be one of those schools trying to flip Tadarius Hughes from Florida State. For more context here, Tadarius Hughes actually attends Miami Northwestern in Florida, and that's significant for some because that's the same school as 5-star wide receiver Calvin Russell, who Syracuse is also trying to get. They're not trying to flip him or anything, but they are trying to get him, and he's committing on July 5th. Some of you may say, hey, Jackson, does this matter that the two of them go to the same school? To me, I don't think it hurts, right? 2 players that go to the same high school getting recruited by a similar college, I don't think it hurts. Hey, right? But at the same time, I wouldn't look too much into the fact that the 2 guys go to the same schools. And the reason is because at the end of the day, as much as it would be cool to, get teammates that team up together at college, these are still kids that got to make a decision that's best for themselves and also their family. So while it doesn't hurt that they go to the same school, Miami Northwestern, Tadarius Hughes and Calvin Russell, I'm not looking at that and saying, hey, that means that they're both going to come to Syracuse football. It's a done deal. I mean, you could easily say that, why can't Calvin Russell also go to Florida State with Tadarius Hughes, right? But that's just not necessarily how it works. I think aside, though, from Calvin Russell, because Calvin Russell is by far and away the number 1 priority for Syracuse football in recruiting in 2026. Tadarius Hughes is second. He's not Calvin Russell, but if Tadarius Hughes were to commit to Syracuse football, I think he would at least be a top 3 recruit in the class of 2026. And you can make a very strong case that he would be the number 1 player for Syracuse football in the 2026 class, especially because he'd be the only one for Syracuse that's rated a 4-star or better on 3 major recruiting services. Syracuse has 4 4-star recruits, but all of them in the class of 2026 are rated a 4-star on just 2 of the major recruiting services. There's 4 of them total. You got On3, you got Rivals, you got ESPN, and you got 24/7 Sports, for those that may not understand. But that's the latest with Tadarius Hughes, and hopefully Syracuse football can maintain a positive relationship with him and get him to sign during signing day in December as a possible flip candidate. Next up, you got Xavier Payne. He actually decommitted from Florida State yesterday. For those that don't know, Xavier Payne is 6'7", 320 pounds. He is a 3-star offensive lineman from Miami, Florida. Syracuse is definitely a school to watch for Xavier Payne for a couple of reasons. Number 1, he officially visited campus on July 6th, according to 24/7 Sports. And as Brian Smith says, the host of the Locked On Portal podcast and also the host of Locked On Florida State Seminoles, if you get a guy on campus for an official visit, you got a chance. It at least gives you a puncher's chance at winning out in that recruitment. So that alone gives Syracuse a shot to land a guy like Xavier Payne, but also he's originally from upstate New York. That can't hurt either. Now, we saw with Messiah Hampton how that does not necessarily mean everything, but I don't think it hurts that a guy like Xavier Payne has background and he is familiar with the area around Syracuse. Another school to keep an eye on with Xavier Payne, as far as potentially trying to flip him, again, he decommitted from Florida State yesterday, is Colorado. He visited Colorado on June 16th, according to 24/7 Sports, and kind of like Fran Brown, Deion Sanders, the head coach over at Colorado, is someone you really don't want to mess with in recruiting. He is an excellent recruiter, just like Fran Brown. So as of right now, I would say the two front runners for Xavier Payne after he decommitted from Florida State is Syracuse. That's good. And Colorado, well, it's never a good thing when another school is involved, right? I guess. I don't know. But finally, you got Daryl Campbell, 6'3", 300-pound defensive lineman, a 3-star Vanderbilt commit. He was also on Syracuse's campus this past weekend. And kind of like Tedarius Hughes, the visit seems to have gone well. All positive news and updates there, but nothing is imminent regarding him potentially flipping. He's also officially visited Cal and Oklahoma State. So Syracuse is not the only school involved for a guy like Daryl Campbell. But overall, those are three guys that Syracuse has a shot to potentially flip. You got Tedarius Hughes, a current Florida State commit. You got Daryl Campbell, a current Vanderbilt commit. And you got Xavier Payne, who is back on the market after decommitting from Florida State yesterday.